Good afternoon, and welcome to Workforce and Business Development Policy and Finance Committee hearing. I call this meeting to order. Members, please mute your mics. This remote hearing is being conducted pursuant to Rule 10.01. This remote hearing can be observed or seen through the House webcast. With that, members, I would like to ask the Committee Legislative Assistant, Mr. Chavez, to take the roll.
Chair Noor.
Present.
Chair Noor, present. Vice Chair Jejong.
Present.
Vice Chair Jejong, present. Lead Hamilton.
Present.
Lead Hamilton, present. Baker.
Baker, present.
Baker, present. Dabney.
Present.
Dabney, present. Frankie.
Present.
Frankie, present. Greenman.
Present.
Greenman, present. Haley. Haley. Jurgens.
Jurgens, present.
Jurgens, present. Cagle.
Present.
Cagle, present. Tizo Atun.
Present.
Tizo Atun, present. Olson.
Present.
Olson, present. Tujong.
Present.
Tujong, present. Haley.
Present.
Haley, present. Mr. Chair, we have quorum.
Thank you, Mr. Chavez. Members, there's a quorum present. With that, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes. Will Representative Greenman move the minutes?
So moved. Chairman.
Representative Greenman moves the approval for the minutes for February 24th. Any discussions, members? Any discussions? See none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? See none. The motion prevails. The minutes for February 24th are now approved. Members, we do have 3 bills before us today. They're all related to unemployment benefits. And I'm hoping that we can put this bill together and send it to the Ways and Means. So the bills that we have are going to be laid over, but then the final bill will be sent to Ways and Means as a schedule for today. The first bill we have is House File 1054, I believe. Representative Greenman, please move your bill and tell us about it.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I'd like to move House File 1054 to be laid over for possible inclusion. I am really grateful to be here to prevent this legislation that will end the exclusion of hourly school workers from our unemployment insurance program. This is an important policy that will impact tens of thousands of school bus drivers, paraprofessionals, educational assistants, lunchroom staff, and others, and allow them to have the same access to unemployment benefits that Minnesota workers have when they become unemployed. What this bill does is simple. It adds a provision to current law providing that hourly school workers who are doing jobs for which no license is required.
Representative Greenman, I didn't want to interrupt you, but I think there's a static coming from your mic. If you can use a different.
I can try to use the computer. I was using my phone up to the microphone. Is that better? No.
No, I'm still getting the static noise.
Okay, let me try the computer audio. Never had a problem on my phone before. I might have to log out and log back in.
You can proceed, and your the testifiers can continue while you're relogging. So if you wanted to call the first testifier, and then they'll give us a briefing.
Yes, I think you should have a testifier list in front of you.
All right.
I think it is. Our first testifier is Tigluger from Education Minnesota.
I have Ms. Jakobski.
Teresa
Please,
Jacobowski.
yes, please welcome to the committee and introduce yourself for the record, and please proceed.
Mr. Chair and members, my name is Teresa Jacobowski, and I drive a school bus for District 196, Rosemount. It took the pandemic to raise awareness that the current unemployment legislation discriminates against hourly paid employees in the school system. A bill, which is finally being presented, will end that discrimination, which began almost 60 years ago. Okay, the people taking care of your children, bus drivers, paras, chaperones, cafeteria workers, janitors, hall monitors, secretaries, we all need the safety net of unemployment insurance. These jobs are our livelihood. We love doing them, but it is difficult to make ends meet because the hours are so inconsistent during the school year, and especially the summer. You may not be aware that even though our wage is decent, the hours we work are severely limited. Speaking for bus drivers, hours available on any route during the regular school year range from 23 to 40. That means 5 to 8 hours a day, and that is split up in 2 to 3 shifts. I start my day at 5:45 in the morning, and I finish it at 5:30 in the evening. Yet a full paycheck is rare. Just take a look at the school calendars. Days and partial days off are many. When the children have a scheduled day off, we do not get paid. We receive no holiday pay. We do not accrue vacation hours. During the traditional school year, thankfully, the big breaks, winter and spring, come along about the same time we get a third paycheck of the month. So that paycheck fills in for the lack of paycheck for those 3 weeks. But the summer hours, that's the real problem. They are impossible to budget around. This summer, unlike last year, we hope to have summer session. At this point, there's still not a guarantee. When summer school is in session, there is only enough routes available to employ half our transportation staff. Around 120 drivers and chaperones are needed to cover school routes. Summer school is only for 7 weeks, and that's what we hope we can get, and we can only get 16 to 20 hours a week. We're available for work. We gladly work all the hours that are made available to us. And my question is, are those not the conditions required to be eligible for unemployment? Why would my job as a school bus driver that I drive every month of the year be excluded? I hope I am painting a clear picture here. Next time you're out and you see that big yellow school bus with a sign on it saying hiring school bus drivers, ask yourself, why are they always hiring? The answer, even though we are considered full-time employees, even though we have benefits, it is a very hard way to make a living. We, like everyone else, need and deserve access to unemployment and underemployment insurance benefits. There's been great suffering this year. Hourly school employees lost their jobs, and many lost their jobs that they supplemented their income with as well. And then when we did return to work, at least at the bus garage, our shifts were shorter. We are thankful to our administration at District 196, who worked so diligently to make our routes at least 23 hours a week so that we could continue with our benefits. Yet still, most drivers and chaperones lost 5 to 7 hours of work every week. This is a huge financial loss, especially knowing that there's no way to save for the summer when the income is so low. Myself and the other testifiers are speaking out today because we can literally no longer endure having access to unemployment insurance in the summer. The law as it stands is outdated. It assumes the workers are not taking this job to support their households, and that we should be content in the knowledge that we will be able to work again in the fall. The fact is that we are a vital part of the school workforce, which is needed year-round. A lot's changed in the last 60 years. We really need to move forward on this. As I said, I was going to end on this note, but I realized after I met with the other testifiers this morning that even though I did finally receive unemployment last summer because of there was no reasonable assurance that school will be in session in the fall. And I was given that unemployment benefit. And then when I was on the Zoom meeting with these other workers, I found out that they didn't get it. Or one got it and was denied and got it again and was denied again and couldn't even spend it because she was fearful of what was going to happen. I'm really shocked about that. I thought that when one school district tells you there's a possibility we won't come back, that would really apply to all and should have applied to the entire state and all the school districts. And I'm very sad that those other school employees didn't receive the help that they needed this summer. I'm just going to end it there, and thank you for allowing me to testify before you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Jaworski. And then I appreciate all the work. I just wanted to see if Representative Greenman wanted to continue with that testimony, or should I go to the next testifier?
I think we should maybe hear from the testifiers, Mr. Chair, and then I can go last.
All right. The next person is Ms. Godanai.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. I am Rachel Godney. My husband and I, along with our 5 collective children, live in Cloquet, Minnesota, where I have lived my entire 39 years. I'm a member of AFSCME Council 65, Local 545. My main source of income is at Churchill Elementary School, where I have been a paraprofessional with the developmental and cognitively delayed students for 6 years. These students require constant supervision, as most of them need help with most functions of their daily living. Most people would consider my job one that requires a specific personality because of the special needs for these children. But to me, it's just a job that I love going to day after day. I also have 3 other jobs through the district. One is teaching an after-school enrichment program. One is teaching or assisting with the Community Education Adults with Disabilities program. And in the summers, I assist with special education summer school. I've done the after-school program and summer school for approximately 4 years, and the Adults with Disabilities program for 15. When COVID-19 shut down Minnesota schools, it shut down 2 of my 3 jobs. Our after-school clubs and our Adults with Disability programs were closed by the pandemic. We were given many tasks, not part of our regular duties, and we stepped up. Without any extra compensation, we were instructed to provide childcare for 8 to 10 students per paraprofessional. While my coworkers and I were at work, we would worry that the daycare students may possibly be giving us COVID-19 without us knowing it. And when we were at home, we worried that we had caught COVID-19 that day and brought it home to our families. We had to trust that all the people in our community were following the safety guidelines so that we and our families didn't get sick or even worse, die. Our days have been filled with stress, worry, and more stress while having to stay calm in front of all the kids in our lives so they would not be alarmed. I am proud of the work our district and staff did to keep rolling with the punches and providing the best care we could to our students with the resources we had. Once we went home for the day, we had to play teacher to our own children. Also, I was forced to move my daughter home from college because her university shut down. I applied for COVID-19 unemployment because, as I understood it, I should qualify since I lost 2 of my jobs as a direct result of COVID-19. I quickly found out that was not the case. I was sent denial letters, but not given a reason why. I applied more than once since that's what the unemployment website instructed me to do, but each time I was denied. However, had my 2nd and 3rd jobs been with Walmart and Target, I would have qualified for unemployment when they were cut, including the COVID-19 benefits. During all of this, while we were stepping up for our communities, I was dealing with the stress of losing a large part of my family's income. I was down $500 a month. My 2020 W-2 showed a decrease of almost $5,000 from the year before. The loss of that income continues to put more stress on myself and my family during an already stressful time. I love the work I do. However, we must make it a little more stable and secure if we want people like me to be able to stay in these jobs year after year. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Godanai, for your testimony. Appreciate it and the work that you do. The next person I have is Ms. Stoffel. Please welcome to the committee, introduce yourself and proceed.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. My name is Rochelle Stoffel, and I am a member of AFSCME Council 5, Local 844, which represents workers in the St. Paul Public School System. I work as a clerk at East End Middle School, and I've worked for the district for 25 years. Thank you for hearing my testimony today. When COVID shut everything down in March last year, I feared that the upcoming months were going to be especially precarious for me, not just because I worked and worried that my family or I could get the virus, but also because I wasn't sure if it was how long it was gonna be, or if I was gonna have any income moving forward at all. In more normal times, the summer months between school terms aren't vacation or a break time for me. I need to work several jobs to make ends meet. And for the last 25 years, I've worked as a caterer for 3 different companies in my off time from education and working for the schools. As I'm sure you can imagine, the catering industry has been hit particularly hard by the pandemic. One of the companies I worked for has permanently closed. Another is operating as a homeless shelter right now, and the other remains closed as well. Needless to say, they did not have any work for me this past summer or since. Because I didn't have any income from my job with the school district and lost my summer work employment with the school district. I couldn't count on other employment either because there was no work. I applied for unemployment insurance from the state. Initially, I did receive a benefit, but in June, my case went into a pending status and I was left wondering why and what to do. I didn't have a clear pathway to make my case or move things along, but I wasn't completely rejected. So I was left hoping for something that did not come for a long time. After speaking to a UI representative, I was informed because I was an educational employee, there was reasonable assurance that I would return to my school position, and therefore I was ineligible to receive benefits of any kind. I'm very thankful that I was able to return to work this fall for the school district, and I'm hoping that this summer we'll have a greater opportunity to continue catering, which I love doing, but at this time that's still up in the air. Like I had mentioned before, 2 of my previous catering jobs aren't coming back, and my last job doesn't have the info for us on when they may reopen or when the catering side will pick up for hours, or if they'll bring us back and when. As of right now, I don't know if the school district will need me for the summer or anything else either. I worry that I'll enter this summer without any assurance of employment. But because our UI system excludes workers like me, I'll have to go another summer without any income unless I make alternative arrangements. Last summer, those alternative arrangements meant pulling money out of my deferred comp account, which was supposed to be for retirement. For some of my other coworkers, additionally, they also had to pull out funds from their retirement. Some of them pulled it out of their home, and various other means of trying to get income over those months. It was very confusing to me, as I said, when I applied and I was initially approved for the unemployment and then denied. And then it was weeks before somebody looked over my case and then in turn said yes, decided I should qualify, paid me and for some back pay. But then a short time later, I received a notice that no, I was not, once again, that I was not entitled, and now that I owed all that money back to the state and the unemployment department. I did contact a local representative's office that did work on the case with a deed person, and they finally ended up awarding it and did finally give me some of the unemployment. but I was afraid to touch it because I was afraid they were going to tell me that I would have to pay it back again. And it went through appeal, and eventually I did receive the funds, but didn't touch it until November of this year. I just think that, I and other coworkers, we've been muddling along through that time frame, and they're just with any means they can to get by. And I hope I never need to use unemployment insurance again, but I really needed it last summer and was left hanging, which I don't feel was right or fair. And that is my story. And back to you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you so much for your testimony. And we have Ms. Luga. Welcome to the committee. Please introduce yourself for the record and proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My name is Meg Luger. I'm an attorney with Education Minnesota, and I think my only purpose here right now, besides to obviously affirm the strong testimony of our folks, is to walk through the bill, which is just a really brief and just identify what the implication of the change is. So I will do that extremely briefly, but be available for questions if there are some. As you can see from the draft legislation, this makes a fairly minor change, and that is to remove the exemption for individuals not working between school terms who would otherwise be eligible for unemployment. This would make them they are currently ineligible because of the operation of the statute. The removal of that language would make them eligible. It only applies to individuals for whom no license is required. So this would not apply to licensed teachers or licensed school administrators. And this would affect exactly the individuals who've just testified who have been hit by the operation of this legislation. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your testimony, followed by Ms. Thornton. Please welcome to the committee, introduce yourself and proceed.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. My name is Tracy Troughton. I'm an information technology education support professional in Osseo area schools. This last year was the hardest I've ever had financially. My secondary income from my pet sitting completely dried up as the pandemic meant canceled travel plans for so many. I had accepted a summer position with the school district, but it was eliminated just a couple of weeks before it would have begun. Most people would qualify for unemployment insurance. In that circumstance, I was denied because state law doesn't allow hourly school workers to collect unemployment insurance in summer months. I was suddenly scrambling for work. Finding somewhere to hire me for less than 10 weeks was challenging. I found a retail job, but it didn't pay much above minimum wage, and it only lasted 30 days. My emergency fund was quickly exhausted. I had to choose which bills to pay on time or at all, and then my car broke down. I was convinced I was out of options and that I would have to quit my ESP job because I wouldn't have transportation. Friends came through with the hundreds I needed to fix my car. And that was just one of several times that a friend or family member stepped in to help me pay for rent or groceries or other necessary expenses since that summer job was lost, which means I'm one of the lucky ones. If I didn't have family and friends who could help me financially, I honestly don't know how I would have kept food on my table this long. The financial impact from being unemployed part of the summer is still causing ripples. I had no budget for Christmas. I've had to put off some medical treatments. I'm still catching up on some of those bills. I've always loved education. My father and grandfather were both educators. Many in my extended family have worked in schools and various jobs. It's really something that's in my blood. I grew up with a great love and respect for education as a profession. And my job is perfect for me. I get to use my skills to keep technology running smoothly, which means staff and students can focus on learning instead of troubleshooting. My district has nearly 25,000 instructional devices that need to be kept in working order so students and staff can be successful, plus classroom technology, special event technology, all sorts of other things. My position has only become more vital during hybrid and distance learning models. It's a position I'd love to stay in for a long time, but the financial uncertainty of summers has me considering if I can afford to stay at all. Hourly school workers like myself shouldn't have to worry every summer about having access to employment, but we do. And this past year has shown that we don't even have a true reasonable assurance of having that job in the schools come fall. It's time to start treating ESPs like the professionals we are. Having access to unemployment insurance during the summer months, if needed, will help keep hourly workers like myself in the professions that we love and keep skilled and dedicated employees working in the places that need them. Thank you for your time and your attention to this issue.
Thank you so much. The next person is Mr. Aldis, Brian Aldis. Is Mr. Aldis with us? I don't see him on the screen. Representative Greenman, please introduce again some of the component of the bill because we didn't get the chance to hear you fully. So please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Rolling with the punches on the technology. I hope folks can hear me. And this just allows me to, I think that the folks that we heard from, the workers who are in our schools, are asking for this. And so I just actually want to highlight a few reasons why I think it's important that we do this and root this policy in their experiences and what they need. First, this is a critical safety net for Minnesota workers caring for our kids. And we just heard that from those stories. Most folks doing these jobs work year round and they're not well paid. Many of our school employees are making less than $15 an hour and are living paycheck to support their families. Providing this safety net for workers out of work through no fault of their own is exactly what unemployment insurance is for. This policy also helps our school districts and our kids by providing stability in the workforce. And we heard Teresa talk about the challenges of retention. These jobs, bus drivers, paraprofessionals, educational assistants, food service, they're jobs that oftentimes have higher turnover, and excluding workers from being able to collect unemployment insurance while they're looking for other jobs can make it harder to retain workers who decide that they might move on after facing a summer without the certainty of an income. Schools lose valuable staff and our students lose important and caring adults. This policy change will help us retain and invest these women and men who are on the front lines of caring for our kids. And last, it's just the fair thing to do. These Minnesotans are playing critical roles in our schools all over the state, providing one-on-one support for students with disabilities, ensuring our kids are nurtured with healthy food, providing a safe environment for our kids to get to school, to and from school, and so much more. The workforce, the majority of this workforce is women and many people of color, and they're folks who get a lot of lip service for helping us keep our schools running. But many of these employees, as I said, are making less than $15 an hour, and we need to do more than pay them lip service. We need to ensure they have what they need to provide for their families, to have stability in their income, and to continue doing the important work for our kids. And lastly, I'd say status quo isn't fair for Minnesota workers. Our current law treats some school workers doing the same job differently based on who their employer is. It creates a situation where two food service workers could be doing the same work in a school, but they're treated differently. The person employed by a subcontractor, a private subcontractor, could be eligible for unemployment while they look for work in the summer, while the person employed by the school district is not. This policy would mean school employees have the same access to unemployment insurance, no matter who writes their check. And current law also treats school employees differently from other workers in industries with seasonal unemployment, landscaping and resort employees, for example. They're eligible for unemployment while school workers are not. So I'll just conclude and open up to questions, but these Minnesotans, they're driving bus, they're preparing school lunch, they're assisting our kids in classrooms. They deserve that same security as other Minnesota workers. That's what House File 1054 does with its Senate companion, Senate File 1307, authored by Senator Rarick in the Senate. It's just a simple policy change to ensure that the lives and livelihoods of Minnesotans doing this work have some security. So with that, I think I will turn it back to you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you so much, Representative Greenman, for this bill, and it's really important. Some of those who are impacted during the COVID-19, and so standing with them. So the first question that I have is from Representative Haley.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Representative Greenman, for bringing the bill forward. And thanks to the testifiers for sharing their stories. I have two questions for you, Representative Greenman. First of all, has this proposal been vetted or gone over from the UI Advisory Council?
Representative Greenman.
Mr. Chair, thank you, Representative Haley. My understanding is it was in front of the UI Advisory Council this summer.
Mr. Chair?
Representative Haley, I just wanted to express that I brought this bill to the advisory and we discussed it there. Go ahead.
Mr. Chair, Representative, can you share with the committee the recommendation from the UI Council?
At this point, Representative Haley, we don't have any recommendations from the UI advisory. These are all bills that have been put forward. So this is the bill that was presented to the UI advisory in January. And there's no recommendation at this point coming for this section or any of the sections that we have today.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I guess that's something that I think the committee should follow up on. That is the role of the UI Advisory Council. And I guess I would be looking for their review of the proposal and recommendation as they consider, all the various impacts of some of the bills that we're discussing today on the UI Trust Fund, et cetera. So I do have another question, though, if I can proceed.
Proceed, Representative Haley.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Representative Greenman, do you know at all, the federal government, as you know, is debating a $1.9 trillion COVID relief package. And what I've read, there's significant money in that relief package that will be directed towards schools. I'm wondering if you're aware of any of those funds that would be directed towards, some of these issues that your bill addresses today.
Representative Greenman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Representative Haley. I know that there is a discussion about it, and what I will say, just in general, is this is an important thing now in COVID, but it is also an important thing that has been an issue for years. And so I am not exactly sure, and I would ask Chair Noor if he has more information about if we know yet about those federal dollars. I assume that some of them will be available, but I would just also emphasize the impact that this would have in the long term on these workers.
Representative Haley, just to explain that, I think it's school districts are reimbursing employers. So that means that they can use any funding that they receive as part of the reimbursing for the UI trust. As you're aware of, reimbursing employers do not pay into the trust fund. So that's something I think we need to be considering and figuring out how to support that structure.
I appreciate that, Mr. Chair, and I guess that goes back to my original question of wanting to have an analysis from the UI Advisory Committee on how this all works together and the impact on the trust fund as well as the impact on the school budgets. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Representative Haley. We have requested, and we're going to be requesting once we put all the bills together, analysis from DEED so that you can have informative decision. If we get that information, I think it's something that this committee would like to hear about it. The next person that I have is Representative Juggins.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So we don't know what the UI Advisory Council thinks of this. We don't have a fiscal note for this. Do we know what fiscal impact this would have on the school districts? Do we know how much it would cost them?
Representative Juggins, I think that's a question that we can ask for local impact, which is going to be included in the fiscal note. I'm hoping that we can get a fiscal note. This is the conversation we're having with the department. I know they're tied into so many things. I don't want to speak for DEED. Maybe we can ask Deputy Commissioner Shafee to give us a little bit of a briefing on this and many of the UI before us.
Certainly. Thank you, Chair and Representative. Just really briefly, certainly, going back to last year, the volume of work has been incredibly high, and that's put a great amount of stress on the program. And certainly our folks who are processing, I think more claims in the last 12 months than we had in the prior 6 years. So it's limited our ability to do some things. Included in that is financial analysis. We were thankful for this committee and Senate committee's support on experience ratings, and it's kind of the same sort of technical work to produce a fiscal analysis. So we're providing as much technical assistance as we can going forward. Right now, our ability to produce, I think, good and thorough financial analysis is limited right now.
And with that, I just wanted to explain that when we went to the advisory council, we usually get recommendation at this point. I don't think this year, because of the additional funding that was included, analysis for a next bill that we're going to be talking about. 2 bills that were included in that conversation was included in budget recommendation from the governor's office. Representative Juggins, any follow-up?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I find it hard to follow how we're expected to vote today with lacking so much information. I think that based on the answers to some of our questions so far, that at best this should be laid over until we have that information. I think that this bill, initially when I heard it, I thought, well, that makes sense. But we really need to take a look at this from 2 different perspectives. In a typical school year, the drivers or the food service employees, it's a 9-month job basically that they are accepting. They understand that. They understand that at the end of the school year, they won't have work until the following September. Now, last year was different because of COVID. And I do think that we need some kind of a safety net to help those employees when something like that happens. It's something that's unexpected. But summer vacation is expected. That comes every year. And so I think that needs to be taken into consideration. I really have a hard time. I mean, we know we can't figure out how much this is going to cost the school districts, but all of the factors should be known. The school districts know how many drivers that they employ. They know how many food service employees they employ. They should be able to figure this out. And whatever cost that goes to the school district, that's in effect taking money out of the classrooms. Is that what we want? So those are the concerns that I have with not just this bill, but the entire process that we appear to be going down today. So those are my comments. No further questions, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair.
Representative Greenman.
Mr. Chair, thank you. I would just say first, for these workers, as we heard, there is no summer vacation. They are working multiple jobs. And what this does is just like unemployment insurance for everyone else. It allows them to say, I'm looking for work, I'm trying to find work. And if it takes me a few weeks, I can use my wage credits for unemployment. And so I think that when folks, as we heard, I think at the top, Teresa talk about, she's not taking a 9-month job and vacationing in the summer. She's actually like a lot of other hardworking Minnesotans, really trying to piece all these things together so she can continue doing the good work in our schools. And the other thing I'd say is it is on us at the state to ensure that our schools are fully funded and that our school districts have what they need. We should not balance our budgets on the back of these workers. And so Mr. Juergens, Representative Juergens, I agree with you that we need to ensure that our schools have what they need, but we shouldn't do that by excluding these workers from benefits that many other Minnesotans have. Thank you.
And just to note that this bill as presented right now is being laid over for possible inclusion. So that the end is when we're talking about combining and sending it to the Ways and Means, which is also a fiscal finance committee to analyze some of the details. So with that, I just wanted to ask Representative, I believe it was Frankie. I didn't put down the order. Go ahead, Representative Frankie, and then we go back to the next.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Representative Greenman. Couple of questions. My first question is, looking at the bill text, it just refers to educational institutions. Is this going to have any effect on our higher ed at all? Beyond our local school districts? Is this going to envelop into our higher ed system?
Representative Greenman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I believe that, and I would have to ask for backup from the agency, that for non-licensed professional folks at higher ed, it may impact them.
We have staff, Ms. James, if you can provide us with some guidance, if this is connected also with higher ed, as I assume it's not, but I just wanted to get your input on that.
Mr. Chair and members, I don't know the answer to that offhand. I'm pulling up the statute right now to see if there's a definition for educational institutions. That I wasn't assuming that it included higher ed, but I don't know the answer.
Ms. Beckel, do you have any update?
Mr. Chair and members, Solveig Beckel, House Fiscal Analysis. As written, this bill would include higher education.
Representative Baker. I mean, we still have Representative Frankie. Sorry about that.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Representative Greenman, and to all the staff. So I guess at this point, we're not just talking about our local school districts. We're bringing in even more people into this system. Whether it's deserved or not, that's a whole nother question. But here again, we have not enough information and not enough due diligence done for this bill, in my opinion. I think, Representative Greenman, I have one more question, if that's okay, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, Representative Frankie.
Thank you, Chair Noor. Representative Greenman, I think you kind of alluded to my second question was that, but it is that, so if this bill moves forward, all the usual eligibility requirements that pertain to unemployment would have to be followed. Is that correct?
Representative Greenman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, this doesn't change anything about the way the program works. It just eliminates a current exclusion. So yes.
Thank you, Representative Greenman. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Representative Baker.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I wanted to just maybe ask the author as well, Representative Greenman, about, I run a seasonal business myself. It's a tourism business, and it seems like we may be picking winners and losers on this thing again, like we've been sort of hearing a lot during the pandemic. I love our school bus drivers. I want to take care of them as best we can. They're vital. They carry our most vital, precious cargo. The problem is, I think that unemployment has been set up for reasons when you unexpectedly lose your job, when there's a slowdown or there's a change or the business closes, and we give our employees something to sort of fall back on for a temporary manner. My concern is that if this kind of moves along, Representative Greenman, not only do we not know the cost of this, my guess is it's going to increase bus contracts about 10 to 20%. That's going to come from the Education Committee funding source. But my also concern is that it's going to affect seasonal businesses that I run too, and it's going to really drive up sort of the unemployment insurance costs that businesses are kind of experiencing. Have you thought about expanding this then to other areas? And why did you just sort of select the school bus drivers at this point? And why would they be any different than, say, our servers and cooks in the fall in seasonal resorts areas, things like that? Could you help me understand why you just selected school bus drivers when there's so many other seasonal jobs out there in Minnesota?
Representative Greenman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Mr. Baker. Currently, Minnesota law makes that exclusion. So currently, Minnesota law takes eligibility, and it has subdivision 7 actually excludes this set of workers. And so what I am doing is trying to include back in to Minnesota law the exclusion that has been there for about 6 years. And I think, frankly, it was written at a time where there was an assumption that many of these workers, and I don't know if it was a good assumption back then, but it certainly, as we heard from the voices, isn't a good assumption now. But it is actually trying to level the playing field and have some fairness with our current eligibility. So that's why, and it's bus drivers and all hourly school employees that are currently excluded. And what we are doing is just eliminating that exclusion.
Representative Baker.
Because of time, I'm going to cut my question short, Mr. Chairman. This has got a long ways to go and a lot of work to do, but thank you very much for allowing me to speak. Thank you.
I know I've had about questions in regards to students and schools, and we have the chair for education finance, Chair Davney. The next.
Thank you, Chair Noor. The magic of the internet. Somebody took my hand down for me. Thank you. Representative Greenman, thank you for this bill. This is exactly the direction that we need to be going as a state. Members, we all talk about how we value education, and we recognize that Minnesota made a decision after World War II to emphasize education as an economic development strategy to improve the lives of all Minnesotans by strengthening their educational opportunities. We've got a lot to do there. But if we value education, then we need to value that school bus driver who makes sure that my kid gets to and from school safely every day. We need to value Ms. Gadani, who works with children with significant cognitive disabilities, and the patience that she shows in that by making sure that she can support her family. We need to make sure that if we value Ms. Stoffel's work for St. Paul students in making sure that they're connected to the internet at a time of distance learning, that she's able to make her car payments and her mortgage payment. If we respect the work and value the work that these classroom aides and lunch ladies and school bus drivers do, then we need to value their lives, their whole lives. And it's not lost on me that all of the individuals who we choose to short every summer while relying on their work the other 9 months of the year are women. And this is one of the structural ways that we ensure that women earn 69 cents on the dollar that men make. Because the workforce that we're talking about are overwhelmingly women and significantly individuals of color and indigenous staff who are key to having in the schools, because that likely is the staff person in the building who looks like me, talks like me, worships like me, who I see in the community on the weekends, and I run into at the stores during the week, who I as a student have a relationship with because they're like me. So if we value these people, we need to actually show that we value these people. And if we're concerned that the UI Advisory Committee didn't come forward with something on this, we're the policymakers in Minnesota, not some appointed advisory committee. They're advisory to us. We set the policy in Minnesota as to who should get unemployment insurance, unemployment protections, unemployment support. And for too long, we've used it as a way to make sure that there's just almost enough money to get by on, but make sure that people are ready to go back to work at any job they are offered, rather than a job that will support their families. For our public schools, they're allowed to levy for 100% of their unemployment insurance costs. So this doesn't take money out of the classroom. But what our current policy does is stress and strain the staff in the classrooms by not assuring them of a stable economic life and a place in their community. So Representative Greenman, absolutely, from a policy perspective, this is the direction we should be going because it strengthens the very communities that we seek to strengthen and help thrive through education. So thank you for your leadership here. I hope the rest of the committee will step up and join you in that leadership. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Chair Davney. Well stated. And I think I want to keep the testimony short because we do have other bills. So I'll go to Lead Hamilton. And then if you want to have a follow-up, Representative Haley, please do so.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And as policymakers, we should also have at least a basic understanding of what the cost is going to be and how this is going to impact our local school districts. It's my understanding that the fiscal note was requested over a year ago on this bill, and we have yet to see it. So, Mr. Chairman, I know this bill is going to be held over for possible inclusion. Will we have a fiscal note? And better yet, will we know the local impact before we're asked to vote for this bill or on this bill? Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Lead Hamilton. As I tell you this, we are going to be proceeding to put this bill in the Ways and Means in the end, but right now it's being laid over. Today, I think we will put that package together for the UI, and we're going to be asking for complete analysis, and I can guarantee you that once we get the fiscal analysis, we will share that with the whole committee, and you can have an input as this bill moves forward. So with that, if you have any follow-up, go ahead, Lead Hamilton.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. But, you know, it would be beneficial to have that information before we're asked to vote on a bill, either for or against, versus after. So, Mr. Chairman, I would hope that we would wait until we have that information before we move this out of committee. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
The next person is Representative Haley.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I just had to comment on Lead Dabney's comments because I did not want my no vote on this to be in any way interpreted as not supporting women in business and mothers and not supporting people of color. This is not an emotional vote. This is a factual vote, and that is our responsibility to the constituents in the state of Minnesota. We do not have the facts to move this forward. The UI Advisory Committee advises on all aspects of UI, so they should be advising on this significant policy change as well. And currently, the UI Trust Fund is bankrupt. Now, we will have some federal support on that, hopefully, but that is a big part of this picture because that fund going into further deficit could impact Lead Dabney, a woman-owned business, a minority-owned business, in another aspect. So I just wanted to make that point because, again, I support these folks that work in our schools. I think all of my colleagues do as well, and the bus drivers. And there needs to be a responsible solution here, but we don't have the fiscal information on the table to make that decision today. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you so much for the reminder, Representative Haley. As you're aware of, school districts are reimbursing employers, meaning that they don't pay directly into the UI Trust Fund. And quite frankly, the federal government stepped in. 50% of reimbursing employers is being paid through the CARES Act. And that's one reason we should have been looking into supporting the hourly workers who really support our kids in school. So Chair Davney stated very well. And as we negotiate this process, I'm assuming there's a confidential requested fiscal note. And I'm hoping that can be made public as we deliberate this discussion in Ways and Means. With that, I just wanted to give Representative Greenman the closing remarks and renew our motion so we can proceed with the next few bills.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I will keep it brief because I think that where I want to end is in the where we began, in the voices and the stories of what our bus drivers, what our paraprofessionals, what our school lunch staff, what they're asking for, which is the same fairness that other workers, other hourly workers have, which is when they're out of work through no fault of their own, they have the security of being able to apply for unemployment and being eligible when they're looking for work. These are folks who are doing important work for our schools. They're doing important work for our kids, and it is simple fairness. So I'd ask for your support. I don't think that these workers can wait, and I think it's 6 years has been too long. With that, I would say I'd ask for your support and turn it back over to you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you so much. Representative Greenman renews her motion. House File 1054 be recommended be laid over for possible inclusion. With that, we move to the next two bills, and I'll turn over the chairmanship to Vice Chair Jay Zhong.
Mr. Chair, we have House File 1035. Would you like to make a motion and present your bill?
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair. This is a simple bill. I move House File 1035 to be laid over for possible inclusion. This bill actually takes the 20-day appeal process to 60-day for the workers and the employers, so that you can give individuals the time for them to appeal if they've been denied, and also time for the employers who may have missed the 20 days and equal time so that they can both get the results that they're looking for. And Mr. Chair, I do have Ms. Webster from Legal Aid to testify on this, and we'll keep it very brief.
Ms. Webster, please identify yourself for the record and proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. My name is Jessica Webster. I'm a staff attorney with Legal Aid. I've also been a member of the UI Advisory Council for about 14 years now, and so I can talk to you about how this played out in that forum this fall. But what this bill does is it essentially extends 20 days to 60 days if a Minnesotan is denied unemployment insurance. It also extends the same flexibility to employers. And this has been a long-standing issue that we've seen in our offices, that people who are otherwise eligible for unemployment insurance are getting tripped up by this technical 20-day rule. And what this looks like, I pulled 8 cases from the Court of Appeals to tell you, why I say technical, or why Representative Noor says technical. One denial of a person was Deed's fax machine was not working due to a power outage, and the appeal did not go through, and they were told by Deed staff that their receipt of their fax was enough. But when the Court of Appeals ruled, they said no. They said this missed the 20 days. We can't hear it on the merits. Other decisions, 1 day late, and the court says this seems harsh, but there's no exceptions. We have people who don't speak English, who weren't able to find anyone at Deed to help translate the materials. We have people who relied, unfortunately, on bad attorneys who said they filed it and didn't file it. We have folks who have been hospitalized during the time in which they were supposed to file that appeal. So this is just to ensure that people who are otherwise eligible for unemployment insurance are able to get their hearing, are able to get their case heard on the merits and not on this technical 20-day rule. So, all states have between 10 and 30 days to appeal a denial, but 21 states have a good cause exception for a late appeal. Legal Aid would love for Minnesota to have a good cause exception. That's something that we've been advocating for about a decade. The UI Advisory Council has never had concerns about this bill. It's really been Deed who has said, we can't administer a good cause appeal. It would be way too difficult. It would be way too administratively burdensome. So this year, Deed has seen, or at least said that they understand this problem and that they would be willing to extend that 20 days to 60 rather than doing a good cause appeal. And it seems like a fair compromise for now. And I think we'd like to see if this helps folks get their claims heard. And with that, Mr. Chair and members, I can stand for questions.
Representative Noor, do you have any more testifiers?
No, Mr. Chair.
Questions, members? Representative Frankie.
All right, pressing all the right buttons here. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair Noor. I think this is a good bill. Going over it, and as an employer, giving not only time to the employees but to the employer to either dispute either end of this, I think is a good option. Thank you, Chair Noor, for bringing this forward. Thank you.
Representative Noor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to renew my motion, House File 1035, be laid over for possible inclusion in the Workforce and Business Development Committee bill.
Okay, and then your next bill, House File 1034.
Thank you.
Make a motion to move your bill, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Appreciate it. I would like to move House File 1034 to be re-referred to Ways and Means Committee. Mr. Chair, if I may proceed, I just wanted to note that this is a bill that we have had several conversations and discussions. Currently, the law does not allow secondary school students to be eligible for unemployment benefits. This is set on a 1939 law, which prohibited students from receiving benefits. As I've talked about this bill several times, and many times, if a student is eligible to work, then they should be eligible to unemployment. If they're paying into the trust fund as employers are doing that, then they should be eligible for the unemployment. We have seen during this pandemic how this issue has impacted many students. In fact, the students collected their efforts and appealed this process. It went to the courts of appeal. It was looked into, and it was determined that the students should be eligible to receive the federal benefits. Mr. Chair and members, this is about fairness. This is about including students who have worked very hard to have that income when they're laid off from hospitality industry or any other industry, that they should be able to collect unemployment. This is about fairness, as I stated. Just wanted to allow some of my testifiers to go into the details of this bill. I have Matt Norris as the first testifier, Mr. Chair.
Will the testifier please restate your name for the record and proceed?
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. My name is Matt Norris, and I'm the Policy Director at Youth Prize, a statewide organization with a mission of increasing equity with and for Minnesota's Indigenous, low-income, and racially diverse youth. I come before you today urging the repeal of a law from a bygone era. To put into context something that Chair Noor just referenced, this is a law that in one shape or form dates back to a time when the state of Minnesota was getting ready to celebrate the Golden Gopher football team's 4th national championship in 6 years. A time when Pearl Harbor was known only as a place, not an event. And when Neil Armstrong would not take his giant leap for mankind for another 3 decades. Minnesota first barred secondary school students from receiving unemployment insurance back in 1939, and this prohibition remained quietly on the books in various iterations until the worst global pandemic in a century shook the labor market to its core and prompted an inspiring and courageous group of Minnesota high school students to ponder why, when they punch the clock like any other worker and their employers pay into the UI system like any other worker, they too shouldn't be entitled to receive unemployment insurance. So they began advocating to transform the system, and Youth Prize, along with a coalition of adults from many different organizations, has been proud to stand alongside them. As a result, we bring before you today legislation that would repeal this discriminatory law and make secondary school students eligible for unemployment insurance if they meet the same qualifications and eligibility guidelines as any other worker in the state. This bill reflects the changing nature of high school work, and it's based on the principle of honoring the dignity of all workers, whether they are high school students, older workers receiving Social Security, or anyone in between. Back in 1939, $50 was not a half day's wages. Instead, it was the total wages earned by most high school students and other temporary workers over the course of an entire year. This meant that high school work was often hardly more than supplemental income. But we know from both the data and the stories that our coalition has collected from youth all across the state that that's simply no longer the case. Prior to the pandemic, nearly half of Minnesotans ages 16 to 19 participated in the state's labor market, and many depend on those wages to finance their college education or to pay for basic needs. It's important to understand that this bill would not make Minnesota an outlier. Rather, it would bring us into the mainstream. South Dakota is the only neighboring state with a blanket prohibition on high school students receiving unemployment insurance. We're incredibly appreciative of the many supporters of this bill from both sides of the aisle, from Democrats and Republicans in both the House and the Senate, to the Governor and Commissioner Grove and the Attorney General. We'd especially like to thank Chair Noor for not only chief authoring this bill, but for also being one of the first champions for this cause in the legislature. Thanks to the hard work of many young people, this issue has captured the state and the nation's attention, generating 55 media stories and counting. This includes coverage in national publications like the New York Times and Teen Vogue, as well as prominent local coverage, like a front page story in the Pioneer Press just 2 weeks ago on Sunday. That's why we believe it's well past due to modernize this arcane aspect of Minnesota's statutes. And now, given the pivotal role that young people have played in championing this cause from the very beginning, I'm pleased that you'll have the opportunity to hear from a few young people to speak to the impact of this legislation.
Mr. Chair, Representative Noor, do you have any more testifiers?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I have Mr. Stevens.
Please identify yourself for the record and proceed.
Thank you, Chair and members of the committee. Thank you, Chair Noor, especially. You've been a champion for young people, young workers, and current and aspiring voters like myself. So I want to tell you guys a little bit about why this impacts me so much and why this means so much to me. So I've watched my parents, neither of whom have finished college, work really hard to provide for me and later my little brother who has autism my whole life. Their sacrifice has been my motivation to work twice as hard and to make sure they never have to work again as quickly as I can make that happen. Ever since freshman year of high school, I've worked in bike shops, restaurants, and been providing a valuable service to my community. So oftentimes that looks like morning in the classroom, evening in the kitchen or the workplace, wherever. When I lost my job due to no fault of my own in April of 2020 because of the COVID-19 pandemic, and that subsequent economic downturn and lockdowns, I was living with my father in Bloomington, helping to pull him out of debt after he'd recently gotten out of treatment. More than 75% of my wages were going to basic needs. I was just making just more than $9 an hour. And I was really the secondary breadwinner of my household and critical to my family's survival in that time. The pandemic had left my previous employer unable to pay me for about a month. I was in debt to the phone service company. I was in debt rent. And I had requested unemployment about a month before that as well. So nothing had happened with my account for a while, but eventually I had been paid for the months I'd requested, about on the 2nd of May, right after rent was due. So having paid rent, having put food in the fridge, having paid off the phone bill and the internet bill, I really had none of that money left. And it was a week later when I'd actually gotten a letter from Deed saying I needed to pay all that money back. They made a mistake. I wasn't actually eligible. And that letter really sent a clear message to me underneath just the words that were on it. And that message was that my hard work and my contribution to my community, the economy of Minnesota, that contribution didn't matter, that it just didn't count for me because I was in high school. Being punished for pursuing my education didn't make sense to me. I don't think it makes sense to anyone here either. So after I had graduated, because this was my senior year and this was in about May when this happened, it was the end of May once I had actually graduated. And after I graduated, I would have been eligible for unemployment. But less than a month after my graduation, I went right back to work. I went to work for Lawyer Disaster Restoration, restoring homes and businesses from fire and flood damage. I've disinfected the Census Bureau in Duluth, 2 fire departments, and a police station after they've been exposed to COVID. And I take pride in the work that I do, and I will keep on doing it and contributing to my community and this economy in Minnesota. So again, I want to thank and commend you, Chair Noor, for being a champion for young people. Like Matt has said, Minnesota had first discriminated against student workers in 1939 with this provision, and needless to say, times have changed. My story is sadly not so unique, Students across the state are struggling. And even though our employers are already paying into the UI assessment tax for us, we're not able to pull out of it. So it's just subsidizing other workers' benefits. In the middle of this pandemic, young people, their jobs have already been disproportionately impacted, retail and food service, et cetera. So it's truly paramount to get relief to the young people as fast as we can. We want to be treated like any other worker in this state, and that's all we're asking for. So on behalf of all Minnesota's high school students who are working hard, I urge you to support House File 1034 in its current form, and young people are done sitting on the sidelines. We are the future, and we are ready to vote. Now, there is one other thing I'd like to address. I was going to end it off there, but I just heard this before, and I wanted to speak to it to the best of my knowledge, and that is the concern of students receiving unemployment insurance after summer vacation and while they go back to school. It's my understanding that a summer job that only lasts as long as that is an agreement between the student and the employer, and that once that expected end to the employment comes, that's not grounds for receiving unemployment benefits. DEED does their cases on a case-by-case basis. They do one by one. They're going to see that, and they're not going to pay out any money. If you voluntarily leave to go back to school, that's not grounds for receiving unemployment. So like I said before, we just want to be treated like any other worker in the state and have our contributions recognized. And I appreciate you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Stevens. Representative Noor, do you have any more testifiers?
I do have one final testifier. Houston. Omarisha Houston.
Yes.
State your name for the record and proceed.
Okay. My name is Omarisha Houston. Thank you, Chair Noor and members of the committee. I am 17 years old. I live with my parents and 3 younger siblings in North Minneapolis. I am a senior at High School for Recording Arts in St. Paul. I plan to enlist in the U.S. Army after graduation. I started working the summer after 9th grade for Appetite for Change in North Minneapolis. I did everything: learning, gardening, cooking, teamwork, communication, and other skills. I worked full-time for 2 summers and 15 hours a week during the school year. I started at $9 an hour. After almost 2 years, made $10.25. I spent all my money that I earned for meals outside of school and clothes. Last March, Appetite for Change shut down when the pandemic hit, and I was laid off along with my coworkers. Losing my income was very hard. I also lost my source of weekday breakfasts and lunches. At the time, I was living with relatives in Champlin, 2 hours away from school each way by bus and train. I was not able to pick up meals from my school very often. Most of the time, we just had to make the food we had last longer. I tried hard to get another job. I applied for many jobs, but not living near a bus line, I had no reliable source of transportation to get me to and from work on time. I learned that Minnesota is one of the few states that denies unemployment benefits to working high school students like me, who lose their jobs due to no fault of their own. While we are looking for another job, even though my employer pay into the unemployment trust fund for its workers enrolled in high school, we couldn't receive benefits. Like me, a lot of students who work use their paychecks to pay for food, clothes, and other basic needs. When we lose our jobs, we lose our source of income to pay for these needs, making our lives very difficult. This is what has happened to me in the past year. Minnesota should treat all the workers fairly, whether or not they are in school. Please don't discriminate against the lowest paid and the most racially diverse age group in Minnesota workers. Please pass House File 1034. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, Omarisha, for your powerful testimony. Representative Noor, I believe you have an author's amendment.
Mr. Chair, I do have a delete all amendment, DE1.
Okay, can we do a voice vote for the amendment?
This will, for the adoption, I move DE1, Mr. Chair.
Chair Noor moves the DE1 amendment. All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed, nay. The motion prevails. The amendment is adopted. Representative Noor?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As you have listened to the student who just testified about how their lives have been impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic and how the system is...
Mr. Chair, before we proceed, sorry, that voice vote was for DE1. We did not have the DE1 in front of us. We have a DE2 in front of us. So there was no DE1 in front of us. That was never submitted, so it was not before the committee. So that voice vote was not, we didn't have that in front of us. So I think I just want to make that note.
Thank you so much, Mr. Rees, for that correction. So the amendment, the amendment is DE2. Is that correct?
Chair Noor moves to amend House File 1034 with a DE2 amendment. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those in opposition say nay. The motion prevails. The House File 1034 is amended. Chair Noor.
Thank you so much again, Mr. Chair. Sorry for that little bit confusion. Just wanted to note that, as I've stated, this is about supporting workers, supporting those families who are struggling through this COVID-19, supporting workers who are laid off at no fault of their own, supporting workers so they can put food on the table and pay for their rent, pay for their mortgage, to be able to support their families and their children. This is about dignity and respect for them. This is about ensuring that we can support those who need the most. And this is standing for workers and standing for employers so that they can have a system that works for them. Mr. Chair and members, this DE2 takes into account some of the bills, the bill for the student that we just had, that is the main bill, and then also bringing in the hourly workers bill from Representative Greenman, the Social Security offset from Chair Davney, Representative Zhong's bill for the reemployment assistance. It takes into account the 60-day that we just had. So this is an omnibus bill that we want to make sure that we collect everything. In fact, for those who have been asking, how do we end some of the executive orders that exist at this point? This is the bill that is going to ensure that legislators have a say in what to do. In fact, it extends the unemployment benefit based on the executive orders regulations and ends by August 28, which aligns itself with the federal regulations that we're expecting that will come to play. This puts an end to some of those executive orders that exist and puts a legislation that triggers the reset for the system so that we can have that discussion and conversation. For many times that we've had that we want to end the governor's executive orders, and this is an opportunity for members to have a say in how we proceed. So this bill, as amended, Mr. Chair, allows us to help and support workers in the state of Minnesota, ensures that they can support their families. So with that, I will, I'm ready to answer any questions for the bill that is before you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Representative Frankie.
Thank you, Chair John. I guess, I don't know if I necessarily have any questions, but more of a statement that, on its own, there's several of these bills that I could have possibly and was thinking of attaching my name to. But this process of getting this information to us, and I believe, Chair, one of your statements was we're going to pass this through and we'll get that information afterwards. We'll get the information from Deed afterwards. We'll get the information from the advisory council afterwards. I kind of take issue with that. And most of you know me, I'm pretty level-headed, and I don't try to play too much partisan politics, but this right here is kind of partisan to me. I want to support a lot of these initiatives, but putting them all together in a little mini omnibus and then asking us to push it through on the hopes that the information will come later. And I am not on that committee that's going forward. So in order for me to feel comfortable doing my due diligence, which I do every night, I'm kind of beside myself here on knowing what to do. I was literally going to attach my name to your bill, Mr. Chair, 1034, because I feel our kids are getting shortchanged in that situation with Deed, and they pay into the system, and they should reap that benefit, just like anybody else who pays into that system that works full time, that provides for themselves and their families. But now 1034 is a whole nother monster. Now, maybe later on, once a lot of this information comes out and I can vet it and do my due diligence as a representative representing the people that I swore an oath to uphold, I can get back onto this. But at this time right now, I just can't support this. I can't support something without having the ability to make an informed decision. And that kind of upsets me. So I hope you understand going forward, and my support may be there because I want it to be there. I really want to help a lot of these people. And I hope you can tell that there's a passion here for me. But I'm kind of one that I have to have things in front of me, and I have to be able to go through the information. And I want to feel like I'm making informed decisions, especially in committee. Now, when we get to the House floor, as we all know, at the end of session and things are flying fast and freely at us, and we have these major, huge omnibus bills, it sometimes is hard to do that due diligence, and we all do the best we can. But that's why I look forward to the work that we do in committee, and that we know that those provisions that we put our name to, we made those decisions based on information. So I want to thank you, Chair Noor, and I want to thank everybody whose proposals are in this bill, because there's a lot of good ones. But I just feel at this time that I can't make an informed decision without all the proper information. And that's all I got, Chair Zhang. Thank you, Chair Noor.
Chair Noor, did you want to respond?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As I stated, this is we are policy making process in terms of ensuring that you get the information that you're looking for, and some of the package in terms of the student and others from the governor's recommendation. There was a fiscal note that stated the cost, and all those things may be revised in the process. So this DE2 will ensure that we get a full, thorough process as we wait for it to be had in the Ways and Means. And quite frankly, it's up to the Legislative Budget Office, as we have changed our process in terms of getting fiscal note. And as a member of that commission, will ensure that I request them to send us that information through the normal process so that you can have that informed decision as this bill moves forward. So thank you so much, Representative Frank.
Representative Jurgens.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I actually had my hand up before the delete everything amendment to talk about the previous version of House File 1034. And the comment I wanted to make was how impressed I was with Mr. Stevens as a testifier. Took on the role today as being the spokesperson for every high school student in the state of Minnesota. And I got to tell you, Mr. Stevens, you did a fabulous job. I don't think that they could have picked a better spokesperson than you, and you should be proud of your testimony today. And I want to thank you for being here. Now, as far as the process, we talked about that earlier, and I'm not going to go into all the details that Representative Frankie just spoke about, but I share some of the same sentiments. There's many of these bills. In fact, I might have my name on one or two of them as co-author. And even if I'm not, there's many of these provisions that I'm in favor of. But combining them all right now in a DE amendment to send it through as a mini omnibus bill, as Representative Frankie called it, lacking the information that we are, I don't think it's ready. And I can't vote for it, even though most of the provisions are things that I think are good policy, good changes, and that I support. I wish we would have had more of the information for us to make a better informed decision today. The fact that it's going to Ways and Means and they have the information, that's fine. They can vote how they want based on the information they have. I'm going to vote today based on the information that I have. And to me, that's not enough information. So again, while I'm supportive of many of the provisions, I'm going to be a no vote on this today. Thank you.
Representative Noor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think with the time, I wanted to allow the other members to ask their questions.
Members, we have 5 minutes left and we need to vote this bill out of committee. Please keep your comments concise. Representative Hamilton.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And to the last testifier, Ms. Omarisha, it warmed my heart when you talk about urban agriculture. I was the chief author of that bill. And to see the
Sorry, my name is Omari Asia.
Pardon me?
Sorry to interrupt you, but it's pronounced Omari Asia.
Okay, all right. I apologize for the mispronunciation. Like I said, I was the chief author of that urban agriculture bill, so it warms my heart to see the fruits of our labor come to fruition. Mr. Chairman, I'm going to express my disappointment in not having the information. Not only is this a policy committee, but it's a finance committee as well. And again, we need to have basic knowledge and understanding of these bills. I mean, that's our role in this, and we must do our due diligence. And when we're talking about a fiscal note that was requested over a year ago, I was told by the advocates, and we haven't received it yet. And not only just what this means to the state in general, but how does this impact our local school districts? And I was on the calls last week with superintendents talking to me about the struggles within their budgets. And now I know if or when this passes, I'm going to get a phone call asking me, how does this impact them? I'm going to say, I don't know. We're going to have to wait. And that's just not the way that we should be producing policy, if you will. And so, Mr. Chairman, I just want to stress my disappointment with that. I'm asking Deed and others to bring forth the information. We don't have any recommendations from the advisory council, et cetera. And again, I understand that it's a very challenging time, but we need this information as policymakers in order to craft policy that's for the greater good. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Representative Hamilton. Representative Baker, please keep it short. We have to vote.
I sure will, Mr. Chair. Thanks. And Chairman Noor, just a quick question on your comment. You think this is going to end the executive orders regarding unemployment insurance, is what I think I heard you sort of say. And this expands our current role and policy in unemployment insurance in the state of Minnesota. So are you suggesting that this bill, like other bills maybe moving along to sort of end some emergency orders, will be expanded and will have other new things attached to this in order for the governor to sort of release the powers that he has been having? I want to make sure I understand kind of clearly your comments. Maybe I misunderstood you, but if this is going to be part of that executive order releasing that, sort of as those ideas, I want to know if the plan is to expand permanent changes to things going forward, if you're going to sort of endorse or adopt and move forward with executive order releases. So I'd appreciate your clarity on that. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, just brief. I just wanted to note that we do have some executive order provisions that are included in this bill, which puts an end date, such as the suitable work search, and also which ends the week, the 1 week waiting, because those provisions were included and several others in the DE. If you go through that process, it shows an end date for that provision in the executive order. So this is just not only a bill that includes some of the conversation we've had, it actually addresses some of the executive orders that were issued under the unemployment. One of them we passed at the beginning of the session, which was the experience rating. And this other portions that are left here addresses some of the provisions that are included in the executive order.
And just to follow up, just a super quick follow up, Mr. Chair. Again, I just hope this committee, as the Workforce and Jobs Committee, gets serious about getting our businesses back open quickly, has a roadmap, get something, some benchmarks here to get moving on this. I understand this is moving something very slowly, but we have to get something in front of this committee very quickly. And there's some bills out there that we need to get to. So I just hope that we all know that getting these employees in the past that have testified today that are caterers that lost their job, we got to get them back to work. And this committee needs to be very much razor focused on removing those executive orders quickly, or at least having an agreement that the House File 1336 has to allow the governor to work with us without really removing the executive orders. But I really hope this committee gets serious about helping our businesses out there. So with that, I'll final up. Thanks.
Representative Noor, closing statement, and please renew your motion.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In a brief, I renew my motion, House File 1034 be referred to the, as amended.
As amended.
Be referred to Ways and Means. That's my motion. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Clerk will take the roll.
Aye.
Chair Noor, aye. Vice Chair Zhejiang?
Aye.
Vice Chair Zhejiang? Aye. Yes. Okay. Reed Hamilton?
No.
Reed Hamilton, no. Baker?
No.
Baker, no. Dabney?
Dabney votes aye.
Dabney, aye. Frankie?
No.
Frankie, no. Greenman?
Aye.
Greenman, aye. Haley?
No.
Haley, no. Jurgens?
No.
Jurgens, no. Cagle?
Aye.
Cagle, aye. Katizo Atun?
Aye.
Katizo Atun, aye. Olson?
Aye.
Olson, aye. Tuzhong?
Aye.
Tuzhong, aye. Mr. Chair, the bill prevails, but let me give you the count. 8 ayes and 5 noes.
On a vote of 8 to 5, the motion prevails. House File 1034, as amended, is referred to the Ways and Means Committee. We had no more business here in the committee, so the committee is adjourned.